Our next presenter is Jonathon Moore. Jonathon is a project engineer with Delaware's Department of Transportation and carries out maintenance contracts in Kent and Sussex County, two of Delaware's 3 counties. Please welcome Jonathon.
Good morning. I am John Moore. I am from Delaware's Department of Transportation. And when they came to me and asked me to speak on covered bridges, I was like, yeah, this is perfect. Delaware has a whopping 3 covered bridges, so I'm basically an expert. I think that anything that could go wrong with a covered bridge has happened to us. So, like I said, Delaware has 3 covered bridges. Currently at this point, only one is what is a true covered bridge. The other ones have been modified just to keep up with demands of traffic in the area. I also should note that these bridges are right at the PA border. They're over very active creeks that carry a ton of rainwater runoff from PA. Thanks a lot, Pennsylvania. The first one that I'm going to talk about here is our Ashland Covered Bridge, and this carries Barley Mill Road over the Red Clay Creek. Like I said, Red Clay Creek is an extremely active creek at the top of our state. This is a single span, 1-lane town lattice truss. And the interesting thing to note about this design is that it has 2 bottom cords. So there's 2 tension ties at the bottom, which is unusual. We don't know when this bridge was built or who built it. We have no plans on it. We're guessing that it was between 1840 and 1850. The span length is 52 feet. It is 14.5 feet wide out to out, and it is supported on masonry abutments. The ADT is a little over 2,700. It's 11 foot 3 inch vertical clearance, and this bridge is on the National Registry of Historic Places. So here's some pictures of the bridge. This is how it stands today. As you can see, it's a town lattice truss. It's a really pretty structure, and there's some hiking trails in the area, so a lot of people specifically come to to look at this bridge, a tourist attraction. As you can see in this picture, I wanted to point out, you see the double cord on the bottom? That was unique to this structure. But in 1982, we had a reconstruction project on this structure. It had a 3-ton weight posting limit. There was some pretty bad deterioration of some of the trussing, and the trussing was also racked. So what we did, we jacked up the entire bridge. We removed the timber floor beams, and we installed 4 steel beams that now carry the deck load of all the traffic, and then the timber lattice work was connected, as you can see in the diagram, to the steel beam. So the steel beam is kind of carrying that timber lattice work too, but the lattice work is supporting just the roof structure now, no longer carrying the load of traffic. So then in 2007, we had another rehabilitation project on this where we repaired split lattice trussing, and we replaced all of the broken and rotten timber pegs. We replaced the roof with a fire retardant treated cedar shingles. There was oak deck planking with Benghazi planking. Mainly used the Benghazi because it's very fire resistant. We replaced damaged timber lateral and knee bracing, replaced vertical siding and fascia boards, repainted the bridge, repainted the steel beam. So it pretty much got entirely rehabbed in 2007. In 2014, we had a very determined driver. He hit the first overhead brace and then just kept on going, and he snapped every single one, so good for him. And we actually never caught the guy, so somebody out there has a really messed up roof. But overheight vehicle struck this, broke every single lateral ceiling brace, so we had to go out and do emergency repairs on that. When we did that, we actually decided that we were going to try to avoid a problem like this again, and we modified it to raise the cross bracing up. So we got a little bit more clearance there, about 6 inches, but we left the clearance posting the same, just to try to deter oversized vehicles from getting brave. Since 2014, we've had 3 more documented strikes, but every time we go out there, we see new scratches, so a lot go undocumented on this bridge. Then in 2021, we had Hurricane Ida, and we got about 6 inches of rain in northern Delaware and Pennsylvania. Severe flooding throughout the area of the red clay, and we had this big tree, as you can see, come, and it's completely severed the bottom cord on the upstream side. Again, this goes back to that unique design of having 2 bottom cords we were trying to figure out what exactly to do with this. So what we did, we came through and we made basically a temporary repair. We sandwiched another set of boards over top of that top bottom cord and bolted it through the lattice work. And so far it's actually holding up very well, but we do have a more permanent project in the works that's coming from our bridge design section. And this is just a picture where you can see how we made that repair. It just sits directly on top of the upper bottom cord. It's bolted all the way through the lattice work and sandwiched together. So it is a tight, fixed repair. And like I said, it has been working very well. It's just not planning to stay there forever. Our next bridge on the list is the Wooddale Covered Bridge, and this carries Fox Hill Lane over the Red Clay Creek. Again, it's a single span town lattice truss bridge, and it has originally supported on masonry abutments, built in 1850. It's 53 feet long, 16 feet wide, has a total of 205 cars, which that actually might be high. It is originally a 9-foot 6-inch vertical clearance. It used to provide access to what was known as Delaware Iron Works, a factory up there that is no longer in existence. Now there is a tiny little subdivision, as you can see. I think there's only 10 houses back there. So like I said, 205 might be a little high. And this one is also on the National Registry of Historic Places. So that was the original bridge. No, it was not designed to originally have a window, but somebody in the community thought it would look better with one and took a Sawzall to it. So it has a window. And that was just what the original structure looked like through, as you can see, town lattice truss. In 1969, the load posting determined that the original structure could not carry the weight of traffic anymore, so we jacked the entire bridge and installed steel beams underneath. The interesting thing to note here is we actually left the timber floor beams on this one, so we really just picked up the whole bridge and set it down on steel. And then in 1981, we determined that that design was kind of coming to the end of its life. It just wasn't very well thought out for what we needed. So the state actually owns a temporary acro bridge that we installed downstream of this bridge so we could do a complete rehab on it. This is a single access bridge that this is the only way for those people to get in and out of their homes. In order to do so, we had to use private property, and one of the people in this development was actually nice enough to allow us to access their property and build a temporary road in order to get these repairs done. So we got lucky with that one. April of 1992, we had a bridge strike out here. Adjacent roadway here was being paved, and one of our contractors left the bed of the dump truck up, smashed right into it, took out the pretty much the entire front. We were able to complete repairs later that week just with using district forces. The nice thing about covered bridges, it's timber and easy to put back together. In September of 2003, we had back-to-back storm events. We had Hurricane Isabel, which dumped 3 inches of rain in northern Delaware. And then the following week, we had Tropical Storm Henri, which struck the mid-Atlantic. Delaware received about 10 inches of rain in 5 hours. It was about the equivalent of a 500-year storm for us. The soil was already super saturated, and then we got just massive amounts of rain. The creek rose substantially, so much so that the water was pushing on the side of the walls of the covered bridge, and the abutments settled. They rendered them unstable, so we were basically looking to do a complete replacement at this point. So this was some pictures of the storm event, and it might be a little bit hard to see, but in the photo on the far side, you can see that the upstream elevation of water is actually higher than the downstream. This picture was actually taken by somebody standing there watching. About 15 minutes later, the bridge picked up and carried off of the abutments and went downstream. So they have that all on photo. Like I said, the creek rose about 15 feet. You can see down there on the bottom left, one of our inspectors, roughly about 6 foot tall. You can just get a good idea of what the original water elevation was and then how much it came up. So we had quite a bit of water moving through this creek. So here is our acro bridge that was installed. We put this in the winter of 2004. On the far side is actually what I was mentioning about the landowner who was gracious enough to allow us to use their property. Saved us a lot of headache in trying to figure out where exactly we could provide access. These temporary abutments are also left in place just in case something like this ever happens again. Having single access communities is very common in Delaware because we're a a marshy state, and most places just one way in, one way out. So we're faced with the challenge of figuring exactly how to get people in and out when we need to do emergency bridge repairs like this. When we replaced the bridge, we wanted it to look exactly like new, and we wanted it to be a true covered bridge. So this is how it stands today. It is a true town lattice style covered bridge. It has a 15-foot span. It is 16 foot wide. It uses almost 100% Benghazi wood except for the shingles. It has a 14.5-foot clearance. The abutments were redone using concrete, and they have a stone face. And we added fully concrete wing walls, removing the original masonry ones. And then this is just some underside pictures showing, how it, looks today. As you can see, it is a true covered bridge. It's actually very nice, well constructed. And our last one that we're going to talk about here is Smith's Covered Bridge. Smith's is our biggest covered bridge. This carries Smith's Bridge Road over the Brandywine Creek. This is a 3-span Burr Arch Truss Bridge. It was originally supported on masonry abutments and masonry piers. Built in 1839, it has a max 45-foot span length, 135-foot total length, and it is a little over 17 foot wide and sees about 2,300 cars a day. So these are the original plans. We were able to find them for what the bridge looked like when it was first built. It was a pretty structure and well known in the area at the time. Like I said, a lot of these are tourist attractions for our state. Halloween 1961, we had some rascals set it on fire, burnt the entire structure to the ground. So we came back with what stood for many years, which was 4-girder steel system, and we just put a timber deck on top of that. The abutments and piers were mostly fine, but we did some repointing and reinforcing of the concrete there, and that's how that bridge stood for many years. This is basically like a timeline of events because so much has happened with Smith's Bridge. 1973, we had more vandals come out. They poured gas on the bridge. They set it on fire. Just a little bit of damage. 75, they set the bridge on fire twice. We got a lot of pyros in Delaware, apparently. 77, we did a rehab project that replaced the steel beams and the timber deck. 1980, somebody stole a car, stripped it completely on the bridge, dropped it off the bridge, and then set the bridge on fire. Surprisingly, didn't do much damage other than the one spot of the deck. The railing was damaged there. We did immediate repairs at that time. And then in 1997, the surrounding community got together and said, hey, we really want this thing to look like it used to. They put a lot of pressure on DelDOT. And so we went to the design phase. In 1998, we got funding. And by 2002, we replaced it with the bridge that is out there today. 2002, we went back again with the 3-span Burr Arch Truss style bridge. The same length. The vertical clearance rose up a little bit, 12 foot 10 inches. The truss supports and dead load of the truss, they only support the covered portion of the bridge. The 4 steel beams below are what we use to carry the decking and the traffic loads. They are a 3-span continuous unit. The steel beams were originally weathering steel, and then we painted them red in 2016. Again, Benghazi timber for this. Just about every bit of it is Benghazi except for the shingles. The shingles are cedar shake roof shingles, and then we did concrete abutments with stone facing, and the piers were left as stone piers. We just repointed them. And so that is pictures of pretty much how it stands now. It's a pretty structure. That's the interior of it. Interestingly enough, the Benghazi is very hard, and I guess people think it's a cool place to do burnouts because we have all sorts of like tire marks and stuff inside that bridge now. Oh, wait, more. So 2021, this guy in this tractor trailer thought he could make it. He didn't. Smashed the whole front of the bridge up there, and pretty sad. Broke the overhead cross tie and the cross bracing, and our repairs, we've had issues sourcing our materials lately. I mean, I think everybody has, but we completed them in March of 2022. So there was a lot of angry people that it took so long, but it got there. It's fixed now. The damages you see here never really played a huge factor into the safety of the bridge, and anything that was loose was removed, so there wasn't anything dangling over cars. And then September of 2021, Hurricane Ida put 6 inches of rain in northern Delaware and adjacent areas. Our creek here rose 23 and a half feet almost from normal level. And me and my crews, we were out, seemed like around the clock, doing bridge inspections. And luckily, once the water went down, we were able to go look, and nothing happened to this bridge, surprisingly. It's still in good shape. So we got really lucky there, but that is a picture of it, sitting underwater. And that's all I have. So any questions? So yeah, the question was, are there hydraulic concerns on the second bridge when we replaced it? Yes, there was hydraulic concerns. The major issue, I guess I should note there, is that there is virtually no right-of-way. The roadway that's on this side is, they say it's 2 lanes, it's barely 2 lanes, and then there's a vertical-faced rock wall pretty much right there. And then on this side, you have those 10 houses in that subdivision, and absolutely no willingness to budge on who would give up property. So we pretty much had to go back with what we had. Yes?
For the second bridge,
The second structure, so after we had that big storm, the stone masonry abutments settled, and we deemed that they were unstable, so we actually took those out, poured concrete abutments, and then we stone faced them to make it look like it did originally, no longer masonry. Thank you. If you have any questions, my contact's on the screen. Feel free to ask my boss, not me.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.